Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you're just running in circles, trapped by your own thoughts, fears, or regrets? Stuck in a loop where every effort to fix your life only tightens the chains. What you resist persists, warned the Buddha. And here's the dangerous truth. Your desperation to escape the pain is what's keeping you buried in it. Right now, in our chaotic world of endless hustle and noise, millions are drowning in stress, burnout, and loneliness, blindly clinging to the same habits that created their suffering. But what if the key to breaking free isn't another self-help hack, but destroying the lies you've been sold about success, control, and happiness? Here's the chilling reality. If you ignore these 10 forbidden Buddhist lessons, you'll stay stuck forever, paralyzed by overthinking, haunted by the past, and starving for a life that feels alive. But today, that ends. These aren't fluffy philosophies. They're mental machetes to slash through the illusions keeping you small. Like why your obsession with certainty is suffocating your growth, or how your deepest wounds are actually sacred maps to your purpose. I'm not here to calm you, I'm here to wake you up. If you're ready to stop surviving and start thriving, listen closely. By the end, you'll uncover a bonus lesson so revolutionary, it'll shatter everything you thought you knew about transformation. If you're going to get one thing from this video, let it be this. Freedom isn't found, it's forged. And it's closer than you think, but only if you dare to let go. Number 1. The mirage of certainty. You wander through a vast desert, the sun blazing above, your throat dry with thirst. In the distance, you see it, an oasis. Cool, clear water shimmers under the golden light. You rush toward it, heart pounding with relief, only to find nothing, just sand. The water was never there. It was a mirage. This is how most people live, chasing the illusion of certainty, grasping at truths they believe will bring them security. But the more you cling, the more life slips through your fingers. The only constant is that nothing is constant. Everything you hold as absolute, your beliefs, your identity, your future, is in motion, changing moment by moment. Yet, you insist on building your life on unmoving ground, demanding guarantees from a world that offers none. You tell yourself, I need to know where my life is going. I need to be sure of my decisions. I need to understand why things happen. But have these thoughts ever brought you peace? Or have they only made you anxious, restless, trapped in endless overthinking? The Buddha taught that suffering comes from attachment, not just to things, but to ideas, to control, to the belief that you must have all the answers. Imagine a river. Water flows effortlessly around rocks, adapting, shifting, never resisting. But what happens when you try to grab a handful of water? It slips through your fingers. The same is true of life. The tighter you hold on to certainty, the more you suffer. True wisdom isn't found in knowing all the answers. It's found in being at peace with the unknown. A man once approached the Buddha, desperate for clarity. He asked, "What happens after death? Is there a soul? Is there not?" The Buddha smiled and remained silent. Frustrated, the man insisted, "Why won't you answer?" The Buddha finally spoke. If a man is shot with a poisoned arrow, does he waste time demanding to know who shot it, where it was made, and why? Or does he focus on removing the poison? You are that man, obsessed with finding certainty when you should be freeing yourself from suffering. Every moment you spend demanding answers is a moment lost in the illusion. Instead of saying, "I need to know," try saying, "I'm curious about the question." Instead of fearing the unknown, step into it with wonder. Think about it. What truth are you defending that is starving your growth? Is it the belief that you must have a perfect plan before taking action? That you must understand everything before you can find peace? That you must know the outcome before you move forward? These are the mirages keeping you stuck. Let go. The road ahead will never be fully visible. The water you seek is not in the distance. It's here, in the present moment, in your ability to flow with uncertainty. Stop chasing the mirage. Start embracing the journey. For the next 7 days, practice this. Whenever you find yourself craving certainty, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, can I be at peace with not knowing? Then watch what happens. And when you do, come back and share your experience. Because the moment you stop demanding certainty, you finally find freedom. 2. The alchemy of suffering. A blacksmith stands before a roaring fire, holding a raw piece of iron. It's rough, unshaped, imperfect. He thrusts it into the flames, heating it until it glows red hot. Then, with every strike of his hammer, the metal screams, sparks flying in all directions. If the iron could feel, it would beg for the pain to stop. But without the fire, without the hammer, it would remain weak, unformed, never becoming the strong, sharp blade it was meant to be. This is suffering, not a curse, not a punishment, but a forge. And yet, most people spend their lives running from it. You feel pain and immediately seek to escape, distractions, entertainment, anything to numb the discomfort. You convince yourself that happiness is the absence of suffering, but that's the lie keeping you weak. The truth? No mud, no lotus. Without struggle, there is no growth. Without pain, there is no wisdom. Think about your greatest struggles, the heartbreak that shattered you, the failure that crushed your confidence, the loss that left you hollow. In those moments, you probably thought, why is this happening to me? But what if you asked instead, what is this pain here to teach me? Every wound carries a lesson if you're willing to face it. The Buddha understood this deeply. He taught that suffering is not something to fear, but to transform. When Siddhartha left his palace, he saw sickness, aging, and death for the first time. Instead of turning away, he confronted suffering head-on, and in doing so, he discovered the path to enlightenment. He didn't escape pain, he understood it. He let it shape him into something greater. You have the same choice. You can curse your hardships, resist them, pretend they don't exist. Or you can step into the fire and let it mold you into something stronger. The pain of rejection? It's teaching you resilience. The pain of failure? It's shaping your wisdom. The pain of loss? It's expanding your ability to love. Nothing is wasted if you allow suffering to refine you. A man once came to the Buddha, broken with grief. His son had died, and he couldn't bear the weight of his sorrow. "Please, Master," he begged, "take away my pain." The Buddha handed him a small bowl and said, "Go to the village and collect a handful of mustard seeds from any house that has never known loss." The man traveled far, knocking on every door. But in every home, he heard the same story. Everyone had suffered. Everyone had lost someone they loved. He returned to the Buddha with an empty bowl, understanding at last, suffering is universal. But how we respond to it, that is where our power lies. So the next time you feel pain, stop running. Breathe. Ask yourself, what is this pain here to teach me? Because within your deepest wounds lies the blueprint for your purpose. Every scar tells a story, and every trial holds a lesson. For the next 7 days, sit with your suffering. Write down what it's teaching you, and when you do, share it. Because the fire is not here to destroy you, it's here to forge you into something unbreakable. 3. The dance of shadows. You walk down a quiet street at sunset. The golden light stretches your shadow long and dark behind you. You turn around, staring at it, trying to step away. But no matter where you go, it follows. The more you run, the bigger it grows. But if you stop, if you turn and face the light, the shadow shrinks. It was never chasing you. It was never the enemy. It was simply a part of you. This is your inner struggle. The parts of yourself you reject, the anger, the fear, the insecurity. You call them flaws. Try to bury them, pretend they don't exist. But what you resist persists. The more you fight against yourself, the more power your shadows gain. What if the very things you see as weaknesses are actually unpolished diamonds? Think about the trait you hate most about yourself. Maybe you call yourself too emotional, too stubborn, too anxious. But have you ever stopped to ask, what if this isn't a flaw? What if it's just untamed energy waiting to be understood? The anger you suppress, it could be your hidden passion for justice. The fear you avoid, it could be your sharp awareness keeping you prepared. The anxiety that keeps you up at night, it might be the same force that drives your attention to detail. Every shadow contains light, but only if you stop running from it. Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering comes not from what we feel, but from our resistance to it. Imagine a man drowning in a river. He panics, thrashes against the current, wasting his strength. But if he stops fighting, if he allows himself to float, the water will carry him to shore. The same is true of your struggles. The moment you embrace them, they lose their grip over you. A student once approached a Zen master and said, "I am filled with anger. I want to be rid of it." The master replied, "If a tiger walks into this room, what do you do?" The student answered, "I would run." The master nodded. "And if you run, the tiger chases. But if you stand still, if you look it in the eyes, the tiger loses its power." Your emotions, your flaws, your darkest traits, they are the tiger. Stop running, stand still, look them in the eyes. Right now, think of one weakness you've been trying to hide. Now ask yourself, how has this trait helped you? What strength is hidden inside it? Write down 3 ways it has shaped you in a positive way. You might realize that what you saw as a curse was actually your greatest teacher. For the next 7 days, practice this. Instead of rejecting a part of yourself, explore it. Speak to it like an old friend. When you catch yourself thinking, "I wish I weren't like this," replace it with, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because the moment you stop resisting, you stop suffering. And in that space, you don't just make peace with yourself, you discover the brilliance hidden in your shadows. 4. The silent rebellion. A single candle flickers in the darkness, small, unnoticed. But then it touches another wick and another. Slowly, light spreads. What started as one tiny flame grows into something unstoppable, illuminating everything in its path. This is the power of quiet change. The world teaches you that power is loud, that it belongs to those who dominate, shout the hardest, or force their will. But real power isn't about control. It isn't about making noise. It's about the silent rebellion of choosing integrity in a world that thrives on chaos. In your daily life, it's easy to believe that your small actions don't matter, that kindness is weak, that honesty is useless in a dishonest world. But thousands of candles can be lit from one, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Every time you choose to do the right thing, even when no one is watching, you ignite a fire that spreads further than you can see. Think about the last time someone did something kind for you. Maybe a stranger held the door open when your hands were full. Maybe a friend called when you were having a rough day. It was small, barely memorable. But for a moment, it made the world feel lighter. Now ask yourself, how many people have you affected without even realizing it? A word of encouragement that helped someone keep going. A moment of patience that prevented an argument. A small decision that rippled outward in ways you'll never know. Buddhism teaches that true change doesn't come from forcing the world to be different. It comes from being different within yourself. The Buddha didn't fight kings. He didn't build armies. He simply walked a path of truth, and in doing so, he lit the way for millions. The greatest revolutions don't start with war. They start with one person making a choice. There's an old story of a monk who walked through a village every morning, greeting the people with a warm smile. One day, a man insulted him, trying to provoke a reaction. But the monk simply bowed and continued on his way. This happened again the next day, and the next, until finally the man demanded, "Why don't you ever respond to my insults?" The monk smiled. "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse it, to whom does it belong?" The man hesitated. "To the giver, of course." The monk nodded. "Then why should I accept your anger? The world is full of noise, conflict, division, fear, but you don't have to participate in it. You don't have to react to every insult, feed into every argument, or seek validation for every good deed. True strength is quiet. The strongest person is the one who remains kind, not because the world is kind, but because they refuse to let the world change them. Today, do one small act of kindness, not for credit, not for approval, just because. Hold the door for someone. Send a message to a friend who needs it. Choose honesty when it's easier to lie. And when you do, don't post about it. Don't seek recognition. Just let it be, because the quietest actions ripple the farthest, and one small flame is all it takes to set the world on fire. 5. The prison of labels. A bird sits in a cage, staring at the sky beyond the bars. It was born here, raised here. It has never felt the wind beneath its wings. And so, over time, it stops trying. It convinces itself that this is its world, that the sky is only for others. But the truth? The cage was never locked. The bird simply forgot it could fly. This is what labels do to you. They shrink your world, convincing you that you are something fixed, something small. I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'm just an anxious person. Or even the opposite. I'm successful. I'm important. I'm different from them. But all of these are cages, because the moment you define yourself, you limit yourself. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. But most people don't realize this. They attach to every passing thought like it's the truth. If the mind whispers, "You're worthless," they believe it. If it says, "You'll never change," they accept it. But imagine the sky believing it is the passing clouds. One day stormy, the next day clear. Does that change what the sky is? Number. The sky remains, no matter what passes through it. And so do you. Think of a time you felt like a failure. Maybe you lost a job, a relationship, a dream. In that moment, you probably said, "I am a failure." But was that true? Or was it just an experience, something passing through you like a cloud across the sky? Instead of saying, "I am," what if you said, "I am experiencing failure"? Can you see the difference? One keeps you trapped. The other sets you free. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from attachment, not just to people or things, but to identity itself. A monk once asked him, "Who are you?" The Buddha simply replied, "I am awake." He refused to be trapped by labels. He understood that the moment you say, "I am this," you cut yourself off from all that you could be. There's a famous Zen story of a scholar who visits a master eager to learn. The master serves tea, filling the scholar's cup until it overflows. The scholar protests, "It's full." "No more will fit." The master smiles. "Like this cup, you are full of ideas about yourself. How can I teach you unless you first empty your cup?" Right now, ask yourself, what labels have you been clinging to? What definitions have been shaping your world? For the next 7 days, replace every "I am" statement with "I am experiencing." Instead of "I'm anxious," say "I'm experiencing anxiety." Instead of "I'm not smart," say "I'm learning." Feel the shift. Because the moment you detach, the cage disappears, and you realize you were never the bird, you were always the sky. 6. The paradox of effort. An archer pulls back his bow, straining to hit his target. He tightens his grip, his muscles tense, his mind fixated on the bullseye. But the more he forces it, the shakier his hands become. The arrow wobbles, the shot misses. Frustrated, he pulls back harder. The bow creaks under pressure until it snaps. This is what happens when you push too hard. Society tells you that success comes from grinding, from relentless effort, from forcing your way forward. But effort, when strained, breaks. When you try to grasp water, it slips through your fingers. True mastery is not about force. It's about flow. Think about the last time you were truly in the zone. Maybe you were writing, running, playing music, or solving a problem. In that moment, you weren't forcing yourself to focus. You weren't overthinking. You were just doing. Fully immersed. Lost in the process. That is effortless action. That is the path of mastery. Buddhism calls this Wu Wei, the art of doing without force. Like a river carving through stone, not by attacking it, but by simply flowing, shaping it over time. The greatest dancers don't count their steps, they become the music. The best writers don't force their words, they let them unfold. Even in battle, the most skilled warrior doesn't struggle against the fight, he moves with it. But most people do the opposite. They chase success like a desperate hunter, always sprinting, always stressed. And the harder they chase, the faster it escapes. They treat life like a clenched fist, believing that if they just hold tighter, they'll have control. But have you ever tried catching a butterfly by grabbing it? You don't. You stay still, and it lands on you. There's an old Zen story of a student who asked his master, "How can I achieve enlightenment?" The master replied, "Have you ever tried catching your own shadow?" The student nodded. "The faster I run, the faster it runs." The master smiled. "Exactly. But when you stop, it falls behind you." The lesson is simple. Let go of the struggle. It doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you change how you try. Approach life like a musician, like a surfer, like a river. Instead of forcing yourself through another exhausting day, try this. Tackle your biggest task with playful curiosity, not grim effort. Instead of saying, "I have to do this," ask, "How can I do this in a way that feels natural?" Pressure kills performance. Overthinking kills creativity. Desperation kills peace. The greatest achievements don't come from straining, they come from surrendering. Today, loosen your grip. Flow with the task instead of against it. And watch how, when you stop chasing, what you seek starts coming to you. 7. The mirror of enemies. A man walks through a marketplace and sees a stranger shouting angrily. The stranger insults him, calls him names, tries to provoke him, but the man simply smiles and walks away. Later, someone asks, Why didn't you respond? The man replies, if someone offers you a gift and you refuse to take it, to whom does it belong? This is the power of inner peace. The moment you react with anger, you've already lost. But what if I told you that the people who trigger you the most, the ones who frustrate, insult, or even betray you, are actually your greatest teachers? Like a mirror reflecting your face, they reveal the parts of yourself that you refuse to see. Think about the last time someone made you angry. Was it because they disrespected you, ignored you, criticized you? Now ask yourself, why did it bother you? If someone called you a purple alien, you'd laugh. You know it isn't true. But if someone calls you a failure and it stings, that pain is not about them. It's a wound that already existed inside you. They only revealed it. Buddhism teaches that hatred never ceases by hatred, but by love alone. If you fight darkness with more darkness, you only create a deeper shadow. But if you shine a light, the shadow disappears. This is why enlightened beings do not hate their enemies, they learn from them. They see that every insult, every rejection, every painful experience is a lesson. There's a Zen story about a warrior who went to a monk and said, "Master, I have a terrible enemy. He spreads lies about me, ruins my reputation, and I hate him." The monk simply asked, "Then why do you follow him?" The warrior was confused. "I don't follow him." The monk smiled. "Yes, you do. In your mind, in your emotions, in your anger. He controls you without lifting a finger." Most people live like this, enslaved by their reactions, chasing their enemies in their own minds. But what if, instead of reacting, you observed? The next time someone angers you, ask yourself, what part of me does this mirror? If arrogance frustrates you, does it reflect your own insecurity? If betrayal wounds you, does it expose your fear of abandonment? If criticism hurts you, does it reveal your attachment to approval? Your worst enemy is your greatest guru. The people who test your patience are teaching you patience. The ones who make you feel small are revealing where you need self-worth. The ones who abandon you are showing you how to stand alone. Every challenge is a mirror, reflecting something deeper. If you learn from it, the enemy dissolves. Not because they changed, but because you did. For the next 7 days, don't react, reflect. Every time someone upsets you, look into the mirror they are showing you. What is the lesson? What is the wound? And once you see it, you'll realize your enemy was never outside you. It was always within. 8. The illusion of separation. A single wave rises in the ocean, proud and distinct. It looks around and sees other waves, some larger, some smaller, some crashing powerfully, others barely rippling. It begins to compare itself. Am I strong enough? Am I important? Am I alone? But the wave has forgotten the truth. It was never separate to begin with. It is the ocean itself, moving, flowing, existing in perfect unity. This is the illusion of separation. The belief that you are alone, that your struggles are unique, that your life is an isolated existence, detached from the rest of the world. But what if I told you that this is a trick of the mind, that loneliness isn't real, that, like the wave, you have never been separate from the whole? Buddhism teaches that we are here to awaken from the illusion of separateness, the feeling of being alone, disconnected, or lost. These are just mental shadows blocking the truth. Everything is interconnected. The air you breathe was once inside a tree. The water you drink has traveled through mountains, rivers, and clouds. The thoughts you have are influenced by every conversation, every book, every piece of art humanity has ever created. There is no me or you. There is only this, the great unfolding of life itself. Yet we spend our lives trapped in small identities. I am my job. I am my achievements. I am my failures. And in doing so, we shrink ourselves into tiny, fragile egos, always afraid, always comparing, always feeling alone. But look at nature. The tree does not stand separate from the soil. The river does not flow apart from the earth. And you, no matter how isolated you feel, are never truly alone. There's a Zen story of a disciple who asked his master, "What happens when we die?" The master pointed to the sky and said, "What happens when a cloud disappears?" The disciple thought for a moment. It becomes rain, then a river, then the ocean, then rises as mist again. The master smiled. Exactly. It never truly disappears. It only changes form. This is you. The version of yourself you see today is temporary. Your body, your name, your personality, these are just ripples on the surface. But underneath, you are something vast, eternal, connected to everything. When you feel lonely, whisper to yourself, "I am part of everything," because you are. The universe is not outside of you. It is through you, as you. The next time you feel separate, step outside. Feel the wind, touch the earth, look at the sky. Every breath you take is shared by all living beings. Every thought you have is part of a greater flow. Your individuality is not a cage. It's the universe's way of celebrating itself through you. So stop shrinking yourself. Stop believing the lie of separation. You were never just a wave. You were always the ocean. 9. The gift of emptiness. A bamboo flute makes no sound when it's full. Only when it is empty can the wind pass through, creating music. Yet, in life, we resist emptiness. We cling to possessions, titles, and beliefs, fearing that without them, we are nothing. But what if emptiness wasn't a loss, but a gift? Imagine holding a cup under a waterfall. If it's already full, no new water can enter. This is how most people live, overflowing with opinions, distractions, and attachments. We chase more knowledge, more success, more validation, believing these things define our worth. But in reality, it is our capacity to receive, to be open, to make space, that determines our true potential. Buddhism teaches, empty your cup so it may be filled. The wisest minds do not cling to what they know. They make room for what they have yet to learn. The strongest hearts do not hoard emotions. They allow love and pain to pass through them freely. The most peaceful souls do not clutter their lives with distractions. They create stillness so wisdom can arise. But emptiness is uncomfortable, isn't it? We fear silence, so we fill it with noise. We fear solitude, so we seek constant company. We fear letting go, so we grasp at things that no longer serve us. Yet, in doing so, we block new energy from entering our lives. What we call lack is often just sacred space, waiting to be filled with something greater. Look at nature. A tree does not cling to its dead leaves. It lets them fall so new ones can grow. A river does not hold on to water. It flows so it can remain fresh. Why then do we fear letting go? Why do we believe that keeping more possessions, more opinions, more burdens, makes us richer? The truth is, emptiness is the foundation of all transformation. A cluttered mind cannot embrace new ideas. A crowded heart cannot welcome deep love. A life filled with meaningless distractions cannot make space for purpose. If you feel stuck, lost, or exhausted, ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Today, practice emptiness. Declutter one space, your desk, your phone, your thoughts. Not because minimalism is trendy, but because space invites clarity. Let go of one outdated belief, not because you are wrong, but because growth requires openness. Be still for a moment, not to escape life, but to fully experience it. You are not your possessions. You are not your achievements. You are not your past. Like the hollow bamboo flute, your value lies not in what you carry, but in your ability to let life flow through you. So stop clinging, stop fearing emptiness, because what you call nothing is actually the beginning of everything. 10. The unseen current. A river does not rush to the ocean. It twists, turns, and sometimes disappears underground, unseen for miles. Yet it never stops flowing. In life, we often mistake stillness for stagnation. We believe that if we're not making visible progress, we're falling behind. But what if the most profound growth happens when nothing seems to be happening at all? There's a reason bamboo is a symbol of resilience. For years after planting, it barely grows above the ground. But beneath the surface, its roots are expanding, strengthening, preparing for a moment unseen. Then, almost overnight, it shoots up, growing feet in mere days. What if your life is like that? What if your struggles, your patience, your quiet efforts are not wasted time, but necessary preparation? Buddhism teaches, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists. Yet we resist, don't we? We resist the slow seasons. We panic when progress isn't immediate. We compare our journey to those who seem to be ahead, forgetting that nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. Imagine planting a seed and then digging it up every day, demanding proof that it's growing. This is what we do when we constantly doubt ourselves. The unseen work, the healing, the learning, the discipline is happening even when we can't measure it. A tree does not grow taller by pulling on its branches. It grows when it surrenders to the process. Look at your own life. Have you ever had a moment where something you once fought for, an opportunity, a relationship, a goal, didn't happen when you wanted it to? And later, you realized the timing had been perfect, that you weren't ready then, or something better was waiting. We forget that just because we cannot see the progress doesn't mean it isn't happening. A seed does not doubt the darkness of the soil, it simply grows. Right now, you might feel stuck, like no matter what you do, nothing is changing. But what if this is your root-growing phase? What if this silence, this uncertainty, this waiting is actually life rearranging itself for you? Instead of asking, why isn't this happening yet? Try asking, what strength am I building during this time? Trust does not mean inaction. It means aligning with the rhythm of life. If a river tries to force its way upstream, it will only exhaust itself. But when it surrenders, it moves effortlessly toward its destination. The same is true for you. Instead of pushing against life, flow with it. Today, instead of forcing, trust. Instead of rushing, breathe. Write a letter to your future self, not with desperation, but with faith. Say, I trust that you're exactly where you need to be. I trust that even in the unseen I am growing. I trust that when the time is right, I will rise. The river does not question where it is flowing. It simply follows its course. The bamboo does not rush to grow. It simply trusts its nature. And you? You are not behind. You are not failing. You are unfolding in ways you cannot yet see. So let go of the timeline you think you need, because what feels like waiting is actually life working in your favor. Bonus principle: the Phoenix paradox. Fire destroys, but it also transforms. A phoenix does not resist the flames, it surrenders to them, knowing that only by burning can it be reborn. In life, we fear this process. We cling to the ashes of who we were, terrified of what will happen if we let go. But what if your next chapter requires you to release everything you thought you needed? Buddhism teaches, to find yourself, you must lose yourself. But losing yourself isn't comfortable. It means letting go of identities you've spent years building. It means stepping into the unknown without guarantees. We fight this. We hold on to familiar pain because deep down we fear the void more than the suffering we know. But clinging to a burning house does not save it. It only ensures we go down with it. Think of a caterpillar. It does not grow wings by simply deciding to fly. It dissolves. It becomes unrecognizable before it is reborn as something greater. If nature trusts this process, why don't we? Why do we resist the very thing that could set us free? The answer is simple: control. We want to direct how change happens, forgetting that true transformation requires surrender, not force. Look at your own life. Are you clinging to an outdated version of yourself? A job, a relationship, a belief about who you should be? Maybe a version of you was built around pleasing others, around fear, around survival. But that version has served its purpose. You don't need it anymore. Yet, you hesitate. You wonder, if I let this part of me go, what's left? That's the paradox. Only by releasing control do you discover your true power. You may feel like life is tearing you apart right now, like everything you once relied on is slipping through your fingers. But what if this isn't destruction? What if it's preparation? The more you resist, the more you prolong the pain. But the moment you stop fighting, the moment you embrace the flames, you rise. This is why the greatest breakthroughs often come after breakdowns. When you finally stop pretending to be who you were, you create space for who you can be. And that version of you? It's waiting on the other side of surrender. Today, ask yourself, what part of me am I ready to burn away? A limiting belief, a fear, an identity that no longer fits? Write it down. Then, mentally release it. See it turning to ash, not as destruction, but as the soil for your rebirth. Because just like the phoenix, you were never meant to stay the same. You were meant to rise again and again, stronger each time. But first, you must let go, not with resistance, but with trust, because every end is just a disguised beginning. And the fire you fear, it's not your enemy, it's your liberation. Quick summary of 10 principles. The mirage of certainty. Truth is ever-changing. Clinging to rigid beliefs stifles growth. Embrace uncertainty to unlock freedom. The alchemy of suffering. Pain is a teacher, not an enemy. Use it to uncover purpose and wisdom. The dance of shadows. Your flaws are unpolished strengths. Integrate them instead of fighting them. The silent rebellion. Small, quiet acts of integrity, kindness, honesty, dismantle societal chaos. The prison of labels. Identities like failure or success are mental cages. You are limitless. The paradox of effort. Force backfires. Mastery is effortless action, like dancing to a rhythm. The mirror of enemies. Those who trigger you reflect your unhealed wounds. Heal and conflicts dissolve. The illusion of separation. Loneliness is a lie. You are the universe experiencing itself. The gift of emptiness. Your value lies in your capacity to receive, not what you possess. The unseen current. Stagnation is growth in disguise. Trust timing. The universe is conspiring for you. Life is not a puzzle to solve, but a dance to surrender to. When you let go of what you are, you become what you might be. Zen teaches us that the tightest grip creates the deepest suffering. Every moment you spend clinging to control, certainty, or old identities is a moment stolen from the magic of being. What if your greatest liberation begins the second you stop trying to fix yourself? Pain is not your enemy, it's your ally. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Buddhism reminds us that suffering is the chisel that sculpts wisdom. Those sleepless nights, heartbreaks, and failures, they're not punishments, they're sacred invitations to rise, rebuild, and rewrite your story. The unknown is not a void, it's a womb. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Every unanswered question, every uncertain tomorrow is a blank canvas for the universe to paint miracles. Why waste energy fearing chaos when chaos is the birthplace of stars? Look inward. You are the sky. Everything else is just weather. Your thoughts, labels, and fears are passing storms. Behind them lies an unshakable stillness, your true self. When you stop chasing external validation, you'll find the universe has been whispering your worth all along. Finally, remember, you are not alone. Every breath you take is shared with forests, oceans, and galaxies. To be is to interbe. Your existence ripples across the web of life. So live boldly, love fiercely, and trust that even your silent battles inspire unseen millions. If this stirred something in you, hit like. It tells the algorithm to spread this wisdom further. Share your biggest takeaway below. What lesson will you apply first? And if you're ready to dive deeper, subscribe to Deep Wisdom for weekly insights on living with peace, purpose, and unshakable clarity. The journey has just begun.